I think the decision was made to become a foster carer was when we actually moved from the Lake District to where we're living now. A leaflet came through the door and just asked if anyone was interested in fostering in the house. And to be honest, at first, the both of us, me and Tony, just said absolutely not. And then 6 months down the line, the both of us said, you know what, I think we've got something to offer. Let's have a go. And that's where it all started.
10 years ago, that we was really considering what we should do with our lives and you know where we should go. We had some friends who were foster carers, and they proposed to us that maybe we're the sort of people that could look after some children. So we went from there really.
It's about 14 years ago we started looking into being foster carers. Really because I wanted to work with children and couldn't think of a better place than doing it in your own home and really making a difference to a child's life.
It was a joint decision to become foster carers, but I kind of rely on my wife and I take her lead, and whatever makes her happy I'll go along with, and it's something I could do with her following, well, me following her, and we both agreed on it.
I lost my job. The company I worked for closed down, and I was at a sort of turning point. I wasn't really happy in what I was doing. I wanted to do something that I got something out of. There was no jobs out there. I was bored at home, you know, nothing to do, living on my own. And I'd always wanted children, but I'd never had any of my own. I've got a niece and nephew that I adore. And a friend came round, she's a nurse, and she turned around and said, well, why don't you foster? They're crying out for foster carers.
As a social worker in Children's Placement Service, we're involved at every stage. So we start with the recruitment and the assessing and the training and follow it through to supporting the placements. Support is via phone calls, via visits. We visit every month. We have core group meetings, which involves children's social workers and a core group of people involved in looking after young people.
Well, the next step that we took was to actually ring the phone number that was on the leaflet. We spoke to someone on the other side, and they just said, you know, that they would they said come along to one of the meetings that they had and just learn about what's actually involved within the fostering process. Both of us went along, and I think we were absolutely blown away by it, to be honest. Both of us came away and thought, do you know, we can do this, which came as an absolute shock, and that's it.
I was approved in September of last year, which was 2009. Prior to that, it started, I would say, January 2009, the sort of whole process of going to the training courses, you know, and completing the Saturdays. It was basically to give you an insight into the pros and cons of fostering.
We've been fostering 14 years this summer. Everyone's special, everyone stays for months at a time, and we see them through right to the end of their journey. We're a stepping stone. As short-term foster carers, I see us as the child coming in, and we help to put their life right and put them back on track and see them go on their way to the rest of their life.
They were amazing because, like, even when I was at home, my care since the age of about 11 or 12 wasn't that good. Because, I mean, as I was growing up, my mum was trained to be a nurse, so she was never home. So I always had to look after myself, and me and my sister sort of took care of each other because she's a few years older than me. But then, like, she got remarried, and it was just sort of, we were on the back bench, so to speak. And it was, from that age, it was very much sort of just do what you want, we don't really care. So there was never this sense of caring. Like, they'd just say, when you get in, just let us know, not a time to be in. So I used to get in at like 2 in the morning or whatever and just sort of go, I'm home, I'm going to bed. And there was no sort of, I never got grounded once or any sort of punishment or boundaries or anything. So it was very much a feeling of, we don't care, just stay out of our way. And then when I got kicked out at 15 and eventually got this placement a couple of days after my 16th birthday, it was just so different, because it was like I had a curfew and I had to be in by certain times. I had to help out with housework and do this, that and the other, and I had boundaries and rules and stuff, but they also like to just chat to me and have a laugh with me and include me and stuff, and like take me on holiday into their caravan and stuff, and really include me in the family and treated me like their own kids, because they had a couple of their own kids still living at home, and they treated me exactly the same as them. So you really got a sense that they really cared, and it's thanks to them that I've done a lot of the stuff I have done, because they sort of showed me I was able to turn around because they cared. So now I'm wanting to go into teaching and youth work and stuff, because I know that someone caring can actually make a difference.
I think the basic essential is that you want to look after children. It's much more of a profession now than it ever used to be. So it's much more just having a room to offer to a child. It is about working as a team and helping to meet children's needs.
For me, that really surprised me was contact with families. So the families of the children. I never thought of that through the process. I never thought how complex that would be. But we embrace that, and we try hard to work closely with all the families to be part of them and show that we're just the support function to help them.
The best bit is seeing the difference in the children developing. When a little one comes to you and they haven't got the strength to walk to the local shop, and food is a massive issue, attachment to other human beings is a massive issue, they're lost. They haven't had what they deserve, and what every child deserves, which is a firm family and with boundaries and love and security. They haven't had it, may not have had regular food, may have had all sorts of abuse, and you collect them at 11 o'clock at night and you bring them into your home, and you're going to make a massive difference to somebody's life.
Foster carers are vital to the whole service. We wouldn't function without them. Children need to be offered the opportunity to live in a family, and that's what foster carers do.
When we have had children in, and sometimes we've needed an item of furniture or things like that, social services have been there immediately to help us, and the support when you have got a child in place and that, and sometimes it might not be just running as smooth as you'd like it to be. You can ring somebody up and they really are. They can come out and see it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's always somebody there for support.
But I don't think you would do this if you weren't a caring person, and if you didn't get attached, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't be doing a good job. So it's not something that you would do for the money or I get more enjoyment out of it than I ever thought I would.
I think sometimes looking back, the way I did things I may have altered slightly in the very beginning, because obviously when you're a new foster care, it's all new. The meetings, the training, the working with professionals, working with birth parents and adoptive parents, it's all new to you. But now I've got the experience I have got, I'm quite content and happy, and no, I wouldn't change things. I'd do it again.
I would say to anybody who would like to become a foster carer, it's one of the best things you can do in the world. It is really fantastic. You have some great times with the children. It doesn't matter what age you are to start fostering. There's always room and a place for somebody to move in. It really has been a great experience and a pleasure to be able to be a foster carer, really. I'd recommend it to anybody. Particularly more so for the men, because I think maybe sometimes people get the impression, well, in a family it's the lady that fosters the children, that type of thing. But we've met one or two guys who are single guys who foster as well. Have done a great job, very successfully, and it's difficult for a lot of men, I think, because of our pride thing to say, I'm a foster carer, look after children. But it's one of the best buzzes you can get, really, is having a child to care for and to look after.
I would say read as much as you can about it, come along and see us and talk about it, because so many people aren't sure what it is. Such a big thing, fostering, it's got so many implications, but I think if the first thing is to have a room available for a child, to have the time and the space and the patience, and to want to do it.
No regrets whatsoever. The only regret that me and Tony have is that we should have done it sooner.